Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel. And today I have yet another book box to share with you. I say yet another because if you haven't watched the channel for a while, I am trying to plow through quite a few book boxes that have collected over the past year by the end of this year. So today the box that I am sharing with you is the September 2021 Down the Rabbit Hole book box, which was sent to me for review last year. And I just have to say that I apologize to Down the Rabbit Hole book box, but I figured this was the best time of year to get caught up on these darker reads anyway, because it is spooky season. Now, this box is $49.99 per month, and that does include the shipping. But let me just go ahead and read to you what it's all about in case you haven't seen one of my previous unboxings. I did just unbox one of their limited editions, which has the same concept, but it was a much more bountiful box, let's put it that way. So Down the Rabbit Hole book box is a curated monthly book subscription service for readers who love books that don't have happy endings. Each month we will surprise you with a paperback book, a dark read you never knew existed or never got around to reading, so it's not always new releases. A combination of 4 to 6 individually packaged or wrapped bookish themed gifts and items directly mentioned or connected to that month's book. Each numbered gift is designed to be opened once you reach a specific part in the book. We add numbered removable stickers and carefully select pages letting you know when to open your gifts. So everyone gets the same book every month, unlike some other book subscriptions, but they release a book theme and give you hints over on social media. If you really think you might have read the book and you don't want that overlap, you can email them and ask what the book is. But first, let's just admire this beautiful box in the dark blue, almost purple, with the florals and the books. Isn't that gorgeous? I always think it's really, really pretty. Now, if you are interested in subscribing, you can use the code Noelle15. That should save you 15%. Just let me know in the comments below for some reason you give it a shot and you need to I need to have it reactivated for you. I can absolutely do that. So inside, this is kind of what it looks like. It's a nice glossy interior. It's usually filled with a lot more shred, but I have removed that shred because with these kinds of boxes where you read along and open gifts to go with the certain pages, I like to actually read them for you so you kind of get the full experience. So I've removed the shred, but here's an example of one of the numbered gifts. They have nice little stickers. And then here is the brochure. So the theme or the hint was "Hell is empty and the devils are here," which I think is a Shakespeare quote. Not totally sure. Now, what I like about these brochures is they do a author feature, so we really learn about the author, which not a lot of book boxes really do. So, in case you didn't see it, the author is Donald Ray Pollock, and the book is The Devil All the Time. And you guys, this is a dark read, but it was captivating. It was one of those things where I was like, I need to take a break from this because it's so intense. Some of the scenes, some of the depraved people and actions that happened in this book, I was like, I need a break. But it was like, I had to keep reading. I had to keep knowing what was going to happen next. It was that good. It was made into a movie, I think a Netflix movie in 2020, which I didn't know. And when I first found that out, because it says so in the brochure, I was like, oh my gosh, I'll totally watch the movie after I read the book. And then after I read the book, I was like, I don't think I can handle the movie. So I love true crime podcasts and hearing it, but I like the visuals to remain in my head because I feel like if I saw some of that violence and gore, I would have a really hard time with it. So I don't know if how they did it. It was very artful, but this is a gritty novel. So I'm a little, like I said, a little bit nervous about seeing it on the television. So you guys let me know if any of you saw the movie. Let me know. I think that this would be a really great book to listen to as an audiobook if it's with a good narrator, but there are a lot of characters and there's tragic characters, there's ones that you can strangely sympathize with, but let me go ahead and read to you the blurb, which is very short, and then I will also read a couple of the quotes from different reviews because I think they give you a good idea, are very evocative of the kind of book it is, because when I read the passages with the 5 gifts that were included in this, while you will get a sense of some of the writing, it doesn't really have those dark scenes, those dark moments, but it's set up as a book where there are multiple characters and you get different vignettes, different things, and they all have intersecting stories, more like colliding stories, that end in this great crescendo. There is some catharsis. There is tiny bit of redemption. I don't know. Every character in it though is flawed to some degree. It was interesting to me to read that this is his debut novel. so impressive. And Pollock was born in 1954 and raised in Knockemstiff, Ohio, which, you guys, that was in the book too. And when I read that, I was like, that's a made-up name. That's like Yoknapatawpha. No, that's a real place. I was like, oh my gosh. So I feel like that's probably why the voices sounded so authentic, because he has lived some of this, hopefully not the details and the gore. All right, so it says, in the backwoods of Ohio, Willard Russell's wife is at death's door, no matter how much he drinks, prays, or sacrifices animals at his prayer log. Meanwhile, his son Arvin is growing up, from a kid bullied at school into a man who knows when to take action. Around them swirl a nefarious cast of characters, a demented team of serial killers. They are bad. A spider-eating preacher, and a corrupt local sheriff, all braided into a riveting narrative of the grittiest American grain. So I could see this being a really good movie, but again, I would be like biting my nails even though I know what happens. Anyway, so some of the reviews. You may be repelled, you may be shocked, you will almost certainly be horrified, but you will read every last word. That's from the Washington Post. Donald Ray Pollock's engaging and proudly violent first novel suggests a new category of fiction, grindhouse literary. Subtle characterization, check. Well-crafted sentences, check. Enthusiastic amounts of murder and mayhem, check, check. The Daily Beast. Disarmingly smooth prose startled by knife twists of black humor, expertly employs the conventions of Southern Gothic horror, the Wall Street Journal. So yes, that like made me feel a little bit better, because there are definitely like dark, humorous moments, and I think that's why it was so good. So it's, you know, Natural Born Killers, No Country for Old Men, like that kind of darkness. All right, you guys, here is an example of what one of the sticky notes looks like. You can see that. So I will, like I said, read a little passage and give you a good idea. So speaking of the spider-eating preachers, it says, before I found the Holy Ghost, I was scared plumb to death of spiders. That's me. Ain't that right, Theodore? Ever since I was a little runt hiding under my mother's long skirts, spiders crawled through my dreams and laid eggs in my nightmares, and I couldn't even go out to the outhouse without someone holding my hand. They was a-hanging in their webs everywhere waiting on me. It was an awful way to live, in fear all the time, awake or asleep, it didn't matter. And that's what hell is like, brothers and sisters. I never got no rest from them eight-legged devils, not until I found the Lord. Then Roy dropped to his knees and gave the jar another jiggle before he twisted the lid off. Theodore slowed the music down until all that was left was a sad, ominous dirge that chilled the room and raised the short hairs on the backs of necks. Holding the jar above him, Roy looked out over the crowd and took a deep breath and turned it over. A variegated mass of spiders, brown ones and black ones and orange and yellow striped ones, fell on top of his head and shoulders. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I do actually kind of have arachnophobia, so guys, I was real scared to open the gift. So here's our gift. I was like, please do not let there be a spider in there. I mean, I don't even like, I knew there weren't going to be real spiders, but I was like really thrilled about it. But again, this is a good time of year for me to be catching up on my backlog of down the rabbit hole book boxes, but I highly suggest taking a month break in between them if they're all like this. So we got this spider pin, which is very pretty. It's like a big faux pearl as the butt of the spider. It still kind of creeps me out. I don't know what it is about spiders, you guys. I think it's the legs, you know, it's like pretty hefty little pin. I know some people could totally pull it off. Some people do really good with like bugs and like bug jewelry and stuff. But I figured for Halloween, maybe, it's at least doesn't look realistic enough that it's going to freak me out. One time there was like a plastic spider ring in a box that I opened here on the channel, and I like threw the box across the room and I had to refilm the whole thing. So just saying, I get a little spooked, but I was nervous about that one. Sometimes you get nervous, especially with this book subscription, when you read the passage and see the sticky note. So that was the creepiest one. Like I said, there are 5 this time around. So let's see. All right, so we heard about Arvin and his father Willard and their dying wife / mother in the blurb. So it says, when he woke several hours later, Willard was still gone, which suited the boy just fine. Arvin ate half the pie and put the rest in the icebox. So his mother had passed away, and some neighborhood ladies brought over a pie for them, for the family, because that's like the neighborly thing to do, I guess. So I wasn't too worried. Let's see, that passage not too dark, right? But I was like, are we gonna get a pie? Because a pie would be nice. So we got in this box, and I was like, maybe a little baby pie. This I thought was a cool interpretation. We got this little blueberry pie in a mason jar with handle, little candle. I thought that was kind of cool. So smells really good. Smells very like artificial blueberry, but I thought that was a really cool interpretation for that one. And of course, it's always nice when you're reading something dark to have a nice candle lit, maybe a nice beverage. Then I wanted blueberry pie, but I thought that was cool. Now, the thing about the blueberry pie, like that's not a very, it is kind of a big part, or not a big part, but sort of a very emblematic image in the book, because the blueberry pie that he gets all over himself later on when he goes for help, it looks like dried blood. It looks like dark, and he's got it all over himself, so it looks like gore. But in this one case in the book, it's not actually. It's a lot more innocent. All right, let's see. The next one is number 3. Sometimes they're hard to find. So later on, Arvin is basically an orphan, spoiler alert, sorry you guys, and he goes to live with his grandmother and basically a girl who is kind of like his sister, essentially. It's more like his cousin, so it says, "Oh my," Emma said, that's his sort of sister, says she set the cake down on the table and grabbed up the hem of her checkered apron to wipe back a tear. Seeing the gun reminded her once again of her son and the, oh, sorry, Emma's grandmother, my bad. Emma is his grandmother. Lenora is his sort of sister. "Oh my," Emma said. She set the cake down on the table and grabbed up the hem of her checkered apron to wipe back a tear. Seeing the gun reminded her once again of her son and the promise she'd failed to keep all those years ago. Sometimes she couldn't help but wonder if they would all still be alive if she'd only convinced Willard to stay here and marry Helen. So Helen has her own very tragic story, of course, but Willard is Arvin's father, of course, and he had been in the war and has major PTSD, which is the whole prayer log situation. But she had hoped that he would marry someone else besides Charlotte, who was Arvin's mother. And Emma's this very sweet, God-fearing woman, and she is a sympathetic character in the book for sure, because so many terrible things happen when she means well. So we got gift number 3, which came in this pretty floral mailer bag. And it is not a checkered apron, but it is an apron, and it's actually a really nice quality one. So I don't know if you guys saw my last Self Blossom box unboxing, but there was an apron in there, and I think it is the same company. It's just a different color, but it's one of the better made aprons that I've gotten in this subscription box. Sometimes they're not like the best quality, but it is this nice blue and white striped one. I thought it was cool. It does have an adjustable neck strap. It does have 2 pockets along the front. Pretty nice apron, right? I thought that was cool. I was glad that it wasn't like a country checked apron that I wouldn't really use. This seems much more usable for sure. I do think this is like a book box because of a lot of the darker themes that like men might enjoy too, and I feel like guy could definitely be barbecuing in that apron. I love that it has pockets and an adjustable neck for sure. Okay, we have 2 more gifts to go. One is for page, almost there you guys, it's more towards the end. It's chapter 42. They're very short chapters because again we're jumping from story to story and back and forth. This is, okay, here we're with the serial killers. It's a couple. It's a, yeah, that was the roughest part for me, is their story. Jamie Johansson was the first of his kind that they ever picked up. Hair down to his shoulders, a set of thin gold hoops hanging from his earlobes. That's what the woman told him as soon as he got in their filthy car, like it was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to her. So they entice hitchhikers into their car and then do terrible, terrible, terrible things to them. So we will leave it at that. Gift number 4. They decided that, you know, they had heard about all these hippies and these long hairs, so they wanted to get one of those as one of their models. Oh, it's rough, you guys. It's rough. So we got a pair of hoop earrings because this guy was wearing hoop earrings. These are actually pretty cute. I thought they are big. They are definitely costume jewelry. So not like the highest quality, but I think that's kind of perfect for like giant hoop earrings that you're not going to wear that often. But I was like, okay, that's a good one. So far, you guys, pretty good gifts in this particular box, right? Except for the spider brooch, the spider pin. Just because I don't like spiders, I'm not into it, but as a piece of costume jewelry, kind of fun, especially if you're into like darker stuff. The candle, yay. The apron, yay. The earrings, fun. Not too bad. And then finally, the last gift is actually just on the last page, and I don't think there's really a passage that goes along with it, but like I said, there is some catharsis. You see how now you've gone through it, you've seen all the like links, you know, one is the brother-in-law of so-and-so, and one is the son or the uncle of so-and-so, and you know, you find out how these guys are all linked, and in the end, they all, there is it comes full circle. Arvin makes it through the end. It says, though it seemed to Arvin as if hours went by while he listened to the sheriff fight to stay alive, it really took the man only a few minutes to die. There's no way to turn back now, he thought, but he couldn't go on like this either. He imagined the door to a sad, empty room closing with a faint click, never to be opened again, and that calmed him a little. When he heard Bodecker expel his last soggy breath, he made a decision. He picked the Luger up and walked around to the hole he had dug for Jack. That was his dog that his dad killed. Getting on his knees in the damp dirt, he rubbed his hand slowly over the gray metal barrel. This is the German Luger that his dad brought back after the war for his uncle, and his uncle later gave it to Arvin. Thought about his father bringing the gun home all those years ago. Then he laid it in the hole alongside the animal's bones. He shoved all the dirt back in the hole with his hands and patted it down flat. With dead leaves and a few branches, he covered all traces of the grave. He took down the picture of the Savior and wrapped it and put it in his gym bag. Maybe someday he'd have a place to hang it. His father would have liked that. He stuck the photograph of Sandy and the 2 rolls of film in Bodecker's shirt pocket. I don't know if it's Bodecker or Bodecker or Bodecker. Anyway, so he's kind of like laying things to rest. He has kind of put a lot of the pieces together as well, and he is trying his best, even though he has committed violence, to maybe somehow break that cycle. That's how I took that ending. There is another paragraph, but just in case you decide to read it, I'll leave that for you. So our last gift was gift number 5 in this little mailer, and it doesn't, again, necessarily come directly from the pages of the novel. It's this little pouch that does have, yes, it is a Shakespeare quote, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here." So it's like when people are saying, go to hell, it's like this is hell. I mean, these characters, you guys, and the darkness and the terrible acts that they commit and the terrible choices that they make are definitely makes you feel like hell is on earth for some people. So it is a miracle that some people make it through, but that's kind of a dark little pouch to have, but I kind of thought it was nice. It does have like a little foot to it, so you could use it for various things. Obviously, as a pencil case might be fun since it is a Shakespeare quote. You know, you could use it as a little makeup bag, although it's not like one of those wipeable canvases, but I thought that was kind of a cute thing. I was like nervous about how they would interpret that because, you know, they do talk about some really terrible photographs that I would never want to see, evidence that they do destroy most of it, but the fact that he had the photograph it was a flat package. I was like, please don't have a photograph. Please don't have dog bones. There were so many potential like terrible scenes in this book where I was like, please don't have that as a gift. But I do think that she did a great job in terms of having gifts that did bring the book to life, that chose interesting moments to highlight, that definitely went with the novel. There was a little extra. Sometimes they include little extras in terms of things to enjoy along with your reading. So sometimes there'll be tea, sometimes there'll be like a fun bookish like gift or bookmark. There was a leather bookmark in this one, which I think kind of goes with like the kind of bookmark that somebody, if they were literate in this world, might use, because it'd be a little bit more rustic, right? It wouldn't be flowery and pretty, as much as some of these poor girls would have loved to have had a little bit more of a flowery and pretty life. I hope I didn't ruin the book or the movie for you guys, but please let me know in the comments below if you had an opportunity to read this very impressive debut novel. definitely an intoxicating, engrossing book, even though it had dark, terrible topics. Let me know if I should watch the movie or if I should be a little bit timid about it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for those of you who are going along with me on this extreme reading journey through the end of the year. And then I promise it'll like kind of even out a little bit more because I'm going to try to stay more on top of it in the future. I'll see you all very, very soon in my next unboxing.